In a high-stakes development following the launch of Operation Sindoor, the Ministry of Defence held a joint press conference on Sunday to brief the nation on the operation's progress and strategic outlook. Addressing the media, DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai said that those strikes across 9 terror hubs in Pakistan left more than 100 terrorists dead.
Those strikes across those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed, including high-value targets such as Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf and Mudassir Ahmed that were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast. The line of control was also violated soon after by Pakistan, and the erratic and rattled response of our enemy was apparent from the number of civilians, inhabited villages and religious sites such as Gurudwaras that were unfortunately hit by them, leading to a sad loss of lives. The Indian Air Force played a major part in these strikes by engaging some of these camps, and the Indian Navy provided wherewithal in terms of precision munitions.
And DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai also said that Pakistan flew drones and aircraft into India's airspace all across the borders and made largely unsuccessful attempts to target numerous military infrastructure.
Operation Sindoor was conceptualized with a clear military aim to punish the perpetrators and planners of terror and to destroy their terror infrastructure. What I do not state here, of course, is the often stated determination of India and its intolerance to terror.
Also addressing the media, Air Marshal A.K. Bharati said that the aim of the 7th of May was to target terrorists and their infrastructure, not any other infrastructure, especially not Pakistani civilian or military establishments.
We carefully selected the targets, and out of the 9 selected targets, the target systems that were given to the Indian Air Force were the notorious training camps at Bhavalpur and Muridke, these being further from the international boundary. Through critical target system analysis, we analyzed what was to be done to annihilate these targets and plan to engage these targets with precision air-to-surface guided munitions so as to avoid collateral damage. On the 7th, our objective was to address these two terrorist camps, and that we did with precision. And thereafter, we maintained a robust air defense posture, because remember, our objective was to target the terrorists and terrorist infrastructure, not any other infrastructure, not the Pakistani military, not the Pakistani any other infrastructure.
And let me now bring in my colleague Nandita Dagar, who was there as part of this briefing, posed the question to the DGMO as well. Now, Nandita, hi. That was a very detail-heavy briefing with several pieces of telltale information on why Pakistan was compelled to initiate the call between the two DGMOs. Now, give us the biggest takeaways.
Yes, thank you, Gautam. The 3-4 important, major, significant highlights of this press briefing, of course, by the 3 representatives of the Army, Navy and Air Force, and in fact, they were the Directorate Generals of the operations of the Navy, Army and Air Force, and therefore they were in the know, they were in the thick of the things. So let me just tell you that the first thing that came out was that with political will, India's military capability superior to Pakistan was demonstrated, and through that a very, very harsh message was delivered to Pakistan that the fountainhead of terror that it is, not just for South Asia but for the entire world, India, at least India will not be a soft target for its terrorism anymore because India has a strong political will, and India is showing zero tolerance for terrorism. And on the first day, 7th May, the first day of Operation Sindoor, on that night, India only targeted terrorist infrastructure, the 9 terrorist camps of Murid ke, Bahawalpur, known terrorist camps of Lashkar-e-Toiba and Hizbul Mujahideen. Significantly, this press conference also brought about that through our intelligence agencies, we've learned that around 100, even more, but more than 100 terrorists have been killed in these strikes by India. Second major point that India emphasized, that India never targeted the military and civilian infrastructure at all of Pakistan, but it was only when subsequent to the first night of Operation Sindoor, when Pakistan resorted to aerial intrusions by drones, drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, kamikaze drones, and artillery shelling on villages, schools, hospitals, religious places, temples, etc., gurdwaras, and on civilian lives when that they were lost, only then did India target Pakistani air bases, and that it did with very, very high precision so that no collateral damage is caused. Chaklala air base, which is now known as the Noor Khan air base, is just 10 kilometers from Islamabad. It is the nerve center of operations of the Pakistani military aviation. It is a logistics hub as well as key ammunition and a hub for VVIP transport units of the Pakistani Air Force. That was targeted. So a very strong signal was sent. In fact, the before and after photos of these air bases, which were showed at the press conference, where precision targets of long-range missiles, when they targeted their runways, their hangars, their radar systems, their operation centers, were rendered devastated, razed to the ground. There were before and after photos, and therefore that was documentary evidence for the entire, not just India, but the entire world to see that how Pakistan has been punished for its misadventures and its support to proscribed known terrorists, which have caused havoc around the world, including
Yes, certainly,
the
certainly,
26/11
Nandita. India has
terrorist
redefined.
attack.
India has redefined its intolerance to terror. Now, you asked the DGMO a question about how, despite the understanding on stoppage of firing, Pakistan violated it on Saturday evening in multiple sectors. Now, how is this likely to figure in the talks the DGMOs are set to hold tomorrow, which is meant to ensure at least an extension of the understanding?
Yes, you're right. I asked this question. In fact, mine was the last question of the press briefing. And what the General Ghai, who is the Director General of Military Operations, he told us was that India had, of course, India cannot trust Pakistan. Even when yesterday Pakistan violated that agreement by launching multiple drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, Turkish Songer drones, kamikaze biker drones, all across the frontage from the LOC in JNK to Punjab to Rajasthan to Gujarat, along the village, on the villages and on along the borders. Even then, the Indian Army and Air Force air defense units and surface-to-air missile units and the men behind these machines were always ready, alert and vigilant. So India, of course, never was caught off guard. And he told what the reason that he gave was that you can never trust Pakistan, but obviously this is something that Pakistan has to answer for. But he thought that he supposes that maybe it could trickle down to the local formations from the top brass. The decision of that ceasefire agreement that was reached yesterday between the two DGMOs may not have taken place in that time period, and that is why they took place. Also, significantly, Gautam, our Army Chief reviewed the operational preparedness of our northern, western and southwestern Army commanders. These are the local Army commands, regional Army commands who are responsible for the borders and the LOC in J&K, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat. And they were given a free hand to engage in any adequate and befitting manner when Pakistan if in case Pakistan violates this agreement again.
And the DGMO, Nandita, also acknowledged the loss that India suffered, but also underlined the fact that Pakistan suffered losses in a much larger quantum.
Yes, apart from the 100 or so terrorists that were killed on the first night of Operation Sindoor, the Director General of Air Operations, Air Marshal Bharati, he said that it is for, we have done our job, we have met our objectives, we have completed, and we have with full precision, very, very high success rate, and with excellence, it is for Pakistan to count the dead bodies. Of course, we would get to know subsequently how many of their military people have got injured or killed. Also, the very, very important statement, Gautam, the Navy statement of intent. The Director General of Naval Operations, Vice Admiral Pramod, he, on being asked about these reports of Indian Navy bombing Karachi, he actually said this, and I quote him, that Indian Navy is in a deterrent and operationally ready, forward deployed mode, and it is capable of striking Karachi, which means that India is not letting its guard down. India is ready for any eventuality, and our air defense systems, from the S-400 to the Army air defense guns, to our electro-optic systems, to our men behind these machines, and the troops deployed on the post. Yes. All of them are ready to give a befitting and pulverizing blow to Pakistan in case it escalates, because India certainly did not start this.
All right, Nandita, thank you so much for that information, and that in a way sets the tone for the kind of talks that might be held tomorrow between the two DGMOs at noon.